For nearly 3 decades, the world has looked at Jennifer Aniston and seen a woman who seemed to have everything. She became America's sweetheart through Friends, one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses. Beautiful, successful, admired by millions. From their outside, her life looked almost perfect. But behind the cameras, Jennifer spent years facing questions that had nothing to do with her career. Questions about marriage. Questions about motherhood. Questions about why happiness never seemed to arrive the way people expected it to. Every breakup became international news. Every public appearance sparked new rumors. Every smile was analyzed, as if the world were searching for a crack beneath it. Many people assumed those disappointments would eventually define her. They were wrong, because Jennifer Aniston's story has never been about the relationships she lost. It's about the hope she never lost. While the world measured her life by headlines, Jennifer quietly chose something different. She chose resilience over bitterness, grace over revenge, and optimism over self-pity. The greatest role she ever played was Rachel Green. It was becoming the woman who refused to let heartbreak decide who she would become. Tonight, we look beyond the fame, beyond the tabloid headlines, and beyond one of Hollywood's most recognizable smiles to discover the untold story of Jennifer Aniston. Long before the world knew her as Rachel Green, Jennifer Aniston was simply a young woman trying to prove she belonged. Being born into a family of actors might sound like the perfect beginning for a Hollywood career. Her father, John Aniston, was a well-known television actor, and her mother, Nancy Dow, also worked in entertainment. But growing up was nearly as glamorous as people imagined. Jennifer's parents divorced when she was still a child, and the separation left a lasting impact on her. She has spoken openly about feeling caught between two worlds, learning at an early age that even the people you love most cannot always stay together. Those experiences quietly shaped her. They taught her independence, but they also planted a deep desire to one day build the stable, loving family she never fully had. As a teenager, Jennifer discovered acting through New York's High School of Performing Arts. For the first time, she found a place where she felt she truly belonged. Acting was just a dream. It became her escape. After graduation, she moved to Los Angeles with the same hope shared by thousands of young actors. To make it, reality arrived quickly. Auditions ended with rejection after rejection. Small television roles came and went. Some shows were canceled almost immediately. Money was tight. Jennifer worked temporary jobs just to pay rent, wondering if she had chosen the wrong career. There were moments when she seriously considered giving up. Hollywood didn't seem to be waiting for her. In fact, one producer even suggested she was likely to become a successful television actress. For many people, those words might have ended their dream. For Jennifer, they became another reason to keep going. She continued auditioning, continued learning, continued believing that somewhere there was a role meant for her. Then, in 1994, everything changed. She was offered the role of a young woman who runs away from her wedding and walks into a coffee shop called Central Perk. Her character's name was Rachel Green. No one, not even the cast themselves, could have predicted what would happen next. Friends became one of the most successful television shows in history, turning 6 relatively unknown actors into international stars almost overnight. Jennifer Aniston was suddenly everywhere. Magazine covers, television interviews, award shows. The young woman who had once struggled to pay her bills had become one of the most recognizable faces in the world. To millions of people, it looked like the beginning of a perfect life. But success has a way of creating new challenges. The more famous Jennifer became, the less control she had over her own story. Soon, the world would stop asking about her acting and start asking about her private life instead. Success changed Jennifer Aniston's life almost overnight. One season of Friends turned into 10. Rachel Green became one of the most beloved television characters of all time, and Jennifer became America's sweetheart. Every Thursday night, millions of families welcomed her into their living rooms. By the final seasons, the 6 main cast members were earning an unprecedented $1 million per episode, a television record that reflected just how extraordinary the show's impact had become. Jennifer had achieved what every young actor dreams of: fame, financial security, a career that seemed unstoppable. Then in 2000, another chapter of her life captured the world's attention. She married Brad Pitt. At that time, they were considered Hollywood's golden couple. Wherever they appeared together, cameras followed. Magazine covers called them the perfect match. Fans believed they represented the fairy tale everyone wanted to believe still existed. For a while, Jennifer seemed to be living the life people imagined for themselves. A hit television show, a successful film career, a loving marriage. From their outside, it looked as though she truly had everything. But perfection is often the easiest illusion to create. As Friends came to an end in 2004, Jennifer faced a challenge that many television stars never overcome. Could she build a successful career beyond the role that made her famous? Instead of choosing the safest path, she took on a variety of films that allowed audiences to see a different side of her. Romantic comedies like The Breakup, Marley and Me, Just Go With It, and Horrible Bosses proved she was far more than Rachel Green. She was trying to escape her past. She was building a future. Then in 2005, everything changed. Jennifer and Brad Pitt announced their separation. The news spread across the world within hours. What might have remained a private heartbreak for most couples became one of the biggest entertainment stories of the decade. Their attention intensified when Brad Pitt later began a relationship with Angelina Jolie. Suddenly, Jennifer's personal life became a global conversation. Newspapers analyzed every photograph. Television shows debated every rumor. For years, the media portrayed her as the woman who had been left behind. But while the world focused on the ending of one relationship, Jennifer quietly refused to let it become the defining chapter of her life. She continued working. She continued smiling. And perhaps most importantly, she refused to respond with bitterness. Instead of fighting the headlines, she let her work speak for itself. That quiet strength would become one of the qualities people admired most about her. Because although the world knew Jennifer Aniston's name, very few people truly understood the resilience it took to carry it. And the greatest challenge was still ahead. Not another breakup, but the constant pressure of living a life the world believed it had the right to judge. There is something unusual about Jennifer Aniston's career. For years, people talked less about the movies she made, and more about the life they imagined she should be living. After her divorce, almost every interview eventually led to the same questions. Are you dating anyone? Will you get married again? When are you going to have children? The questions never seemed to end. It didn't matter how successful her latest film was, or how hard she had worked. Many headlines reduced her entire life to one idea: Jennifer Aniston was somehow incomplete because she was a mother. It was a narrative repeated so often that millions of people began accepting it as truth. Every time she wore a loose dress, tabloids claimed she was pregnant. Every vacation photo became evidence. Every public appearance sparked another wave of speculation. Then, weeks later, the rumors would quietly disappear, only to begin all over again. For years, Jennifer chose not to respond. She believed silence was stronger than constantly defending herself. But eventually, she realized that her silence was allowing others to tell her story. So in 2016, she did something unexpected. She wrote an open essay titled "For the Record." It was writ in anger. It was writ with honesty. Jennifer explained that a woman's worth should never be measured by her relationship status or whether she has children. She reminded the world that women are complete with or without marriage. with or without motherhood. She also revealed something many people had never considered. The endless rumors weren't harmless entertainment. They were exhausting, painful, and deeply unfair, because no one truly knew what another person might be experiencing behind closed doors. That essay quickly spread around the world. Thousands of women recognized themselves in her words. For the first time, Jennifer wasn't simply defending herself. She was speaking for millions of women who had spent years being judged by expectations they never created. Her message was simple. A woman's happiness should never be defined by someone else's timeline. Life isn't a checklist. There is no universal age for marriage. No deadline for motherhood. No single definition of success. Jennifer wasn't rejecting family. She was rejecting their idea that society had the right to decide what would make her life meaningful. Looking back today, that essay may have become one of the most important moments of her career. Not because it won an award, not because it promoted a movie, but because it changed the conversation. Jennifer Aniston stopped being the woman the tabloids described. She became a voice for authenticity, self-worth, and the freedom to define happiness on her own terms. And perhaps that was the moment she finally stopped trying to live up to the world's expectations and started living entirely by her own. Some people spend their entire lives trying to become the person the world expects them to be. Jennifer Aniston eventually chose a different path. She decided to become the person she wanted to be. For years, the public measured her happiness through relationships. If she was dating someone, she was happy. If she was single, she was heartbroken, as though a woman's entire life could be reduced to the name beside hers. Jennifer quietly rejected that idea. Following the end of her marriage to Justin Theroux in 2018, many expected another painful chapter filled with public drama. Instead, something unexpected happened. She found peace, not because life had suddenly become perfect, but because she stopped believing that happiness had to look the way other people imagined it should. Rather than searching for another relationship, Jennifer invested her energy in the things that had always brought her genuine joy. Her work, her closest friendships, her health, and the simple routines that made everyday life meaningful. She reunited with audiences in the morning show, delivering one of the strongest dramatic performances of her career. The role reminded both critics and viewers that Jennifer was far more than a sitcom icon. She was an actress still willing to challenge herself decades after becoming famous. Away from the cameras, her life became intentionally quieter. She surrounded herself with lifelong friends who had stood beside her through success, heartbreak, and everything in between. Many of those friendships had lasted longer than most Hollywood marriages. To Jennifer, that loyalty became one of life's greatest gifts. She also devoted more time to wellness, not because she wanted to meet Hollywood's impossible standards, but because she wanted to feel strong, balanced, and healthy. Exercise became part of her daily routine. So did mindfulness, gratitude, and protecting her peace from the endless noise of social media and celebrity culture. Another constant source of happiness was her love for animals. Her dogs were more than companions. They were family. Jennifer often spoke about the comfort and unconditional love they brought into her life, especially during difficult times. It was a reminder that happiness is often found in life's quietest moments, not its loudest celebrations. Looking at Jennifer today, one thing becomes clear. She no longer lives to satisfy public expectations. She no longer feels the need to explain why she is single, or defend the choices she has made. Instead, she has embraced a simple truth. A meaningful life is not measured by whether it follows someone else's timeline. It is measured by whether it feels authentic to the person living it. That quiet confidence has become one of Jennifer Aniston's most inspiring qualities. She doesn't claim to have all the answers. She doesn't pretend life has been easy. She simply proves, day after day, that happiness doesn't begin when everything goes according to plan. Sometimes, it begins the moment you stop trying to live someone else's version of your life. And perhaps that is the lesson Jennifer learned after years of searching. The happiest chapter of her story didn't begin when she found the perfect relationship. It began when she finally found peace with herself. Hollywood has always celebrated big moments. The blockbuster premieres, the award speeches, the standing ovations. Those are the moments people remember. But the moments that truly shape a person often happen far away from the spotlight. No cameras, no applause, just quiet decisions made day after day. When future generations look back at Jennifer Aniston's career, they'll remember Friends. They'll remember Rachel Green. They'll remember one of the most successful television shows ever created. But perhaps that isn't the legacy Jennifer hopes to leave behind. Because over the years, she has shown the world something far more meaningful than success. She has shown what resilience looks like. She taught millions of people that disappointment doesn't have to become your identity. That heartbreak doesn't have to make you bitter. And that happiness isn't something another person gives you. It's something you choose to create for yourself. There were many moments when Jennifer could have allowed the world's opinion to define her. She could have become known only as Brad Pitt's ex-wife. She could have spent years responding to rumors. She could have lived her life trying to prove critics wrong. Instead, she chose dignity. She chose kindness. She chose to keep moving forward. That quiet strength is what has earned her something even more valuable than fame. Respect, not because she never experienced pain, but because she never allowed pain to become the center of her story. Perhaps that's why Jennifer Aniston remains one of the most beloved figures in Hollywood. Not simply because she made people laugh, but because she reminded people that it's possible to face disappointment without losing hope, to grow older without losing curiosity, to experience heartbreak without losing their ability to love life. There is a quote often attributed to Jennifer that captures the spirit of her journey: "You don't have to have everything figured out to be happy." Whether through her work, her friendships, or the quiet example she has set, she has spent decades proving exactly that. Today, Jennifer Aniston no longer needs to convince anyone that her life is meaningful. She doesn't need headlines to validate her happiness. She doesn't need perfection to feel complete. She has already found something far more valuable: peace. Looking back, her story was never really about fame. It wasn't about failed relationships. It wasn't about public expectations. It was about a woman who refused to stop believing in tomorrow, even when yesterday had broken her heart. And perhaps that is why her story continues to inspire millions around the world. Because every one of us will experience disappointment. Every one of us will lose something we once believed would last forever. But Jennifer Aniston reminds us that losing one dream doesn't mean losing their ability to dream again. In the end, the greatest role she ever played was Rachel Green. It was a movie star. It was even Hollywood's sweetheart. It was becoming living proof that grace is stronger than bitterness. Hope is stronger than heartbreak. And that the people who inspire us most are often the ones who quietly refuse to give up.